My daughter, our second child, a newborn. Pre-pregnancy, my wife was diagnosed with general anxiety disorder and depression. In the days since birthing our baby girl, she's most definitely been experiencing postpartum depression. Our first child, our son, looks so much like her. In fact, if you look at baby photos of my wife, they look almost exactly like our son's baby photos. And my wife is a looker, so my son is really cute, thank you very much. Our daughter got a bit more of my side's gene pool. Her hairline has a widow's peak, which I've had since I was a baby. Her lips are relatively thin, like mine. Her nose is a little larger than our son's nose. I have a Middle Eastern classic hooked nose. Nearly every day in my daughter's 21 days on this earth, my wife has commented to our baby girl about how she's so sad she got her daddy's features. Some of the things my wife has said to our baby girl: "Don't worry, I'll get you a nose job when you're old enough. I wish you had gotten more of my features. My family's beautiful, and all the women are timeless. Your dad's family, not so much. My son has beautiful pouty lips, and you got stuck with these pencil lips. Ooh, it's really tough being a girl." Until yesterday, I was taking a softer approach with comments like, "Okay, be nice," and "Okay, chillax." But today I had enough and just snapped and yelled at her for 5 minutes straight, and I cursed quite a bit too. The gist of my statements were, I don't care if she can't understand what you're saying. Stop putting that crap into the universe. Our son can understand you, so stop this garbage. I can understand you, so stop putting this crap in my head and making me listen. Yeah, life is tough for girls in this world, especially when their mom is crapping all over their appearance. She's 3 weeks old, still perfect and noble, and hasn't hurt a soul. Stop projecting onto her. You regularly tell me how your mom messed up your psyche with all her comments about your appearance. So why the heck are you doing the same to our baby girl? She was understandably hurt by my comments, and we haven't really talked about it or debriefed since. I recognize that part of her comments stem from her anxiety and depression, as well as her postpartum depression. And I also recognize that there is a lot of this that stems from her mom's influence on her psyche. I also recognize that yelling and berating people is rarely the right thing. So, am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. Who promises a newborn plastic surgery because they take after their father? She needs to talk to a professional. PPD can make you act out of character and is worth checking. It's possible that having a daughter is triggering some of these old wounds that your wife got from her own mother. I feel like everyone is quick to jump to postpartum depression for everything when a new mom is acting like an idiot. I'm not a doctor, so maybe she has it, or maybe she doesn't, but sometimes people are just idiots. Her behavior doesn't sound like PPD to me, but again, I'm not a doctor. Given her mom criticized her appearance growing up, I think she's just subconsciously repeating the same behavior she grew up with. The same reason that some people who were abused repeat the same cycle with their kids. Either way, I would agree that she needs to talk to a licensed therapist. Every single day since the baby was born, she insulted her and OP and ignored his gentle redirections. No wonder he snapped. Losing his temper wasn't the best, but it is understandable. She's literally talking about plastic surgery to her daughter. That is vile. Nip that crap in the bud before she's old enough to understand and develop an inferiority complex. And if your wife finds your features so unattractive, why did she marry you? We need to know OP's salary to answer why she married him. Maybe he's a Saudi prince rolling in oil money. Jokes aside, what an absolutely awful thing to say to a child. I get that PPD is pretty rough, but this also sounds like generational trauma, given the comment about how her mom did the same crap to OP's wife. Either way, no excuses. Break the cycle. My 27 female, sister Kaylee, 24, is self-centered, entitled, and a bully, and she's absolutely the way she is because of our parents. They would threaten to get teachers fired for giving Kaylee a bad grade. Kaylee's behavior would get swept under the rug because the school didn't want to deal with my parents. Kaylee was given no boundaries at home either. I limit my communication with my parents and Kaylee, as their enablement of her has only gotten worse. My fiance, Joseph, 25 male, and I are getting married in August. While dating, I learned that Joseph was one of the people Kaylee severely bullied during high school and cyberbullied when he was in college. Joseph and I have tried, both individually and together, to confront Kaylee about her bullying. Kaylee has never apologized for her bullying and frequently denies it ever happened. Her response is always something along the lines of, "Well, even if I did do that, he should get over it. That was back during the global issue. He should have learned to take a joke by now." Earlier this year, a friend of Kaylee's passed away unexpectedly. Kaylee and her friend used to hang out with each other every day, but from what I know, they hadn't been in touch since high school. Kaylee and my parents insist that she's had a change of heart because her friend's death made Kaylee realize that you never know how much time you have left with people, and she wants to be more involved in my life. However, despite these claims, Kaylee still refuses to apologize for any of her bullying toward Joseph or me. Previously, Kaylee had no interest in attending my wedding, but now she says she wants to attend and expects a place of honor, such as a bridesmaid. I told Kaylee that she was not welcome at my and Joseph's wedding. Her refusal to apologize or admit wrongdoing shows us that she isn't sincere about wanting to be a better sister and overall person towards us. This is supposed to be one of the biggest and happiest days of my and Joseph's life, and we aren't saving any seats for a bully. My parents are pushing Kaylee's change of heart claims and are saying I should just have more sympathy for my sister because of her friend's death. Several family members are supporting my parents and saying they will not attend my wedding unless Kaylee's invited. My paternal grandparents have always been there for Joseph and me and want to attend, but they cannot because they would need my aunt or her husband to take them. My grandparents rely very heavily on my aunt due to their poor health, and they're scared to go against her and potentially lose her support. Our friends agreed that we shouldn't have to invite Kaylee to the wedding, but I should invite her for my grandparents' sake because they know how much my grandparents want to come, and inviting Kaylee would be the unfortunate but necessary means to make sure they can be there. So, are we the idiots for still holding back an invitation for Kaylee? Not the idiot. OP, does this sound like Kaylee, the narcissist prayer? That didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, it's not a big deal. And if it is, it's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. She's not changed. She's bullying you now. The first time I read the narcissist prayer, it felt like my belly had become ice. It just described my mom perfectly. She used to say all of these things to me verbatim. I really think she must have had a personality disorder. Talk about a bully, man. And OP's parents are still enabling her, trying to get her way with OP's wedding and getting the whole family in on it. So I would uninvite anyone who supports Kaylee and continue with life. And if I was Joseph and the choices were having a wedding with my bully present or not having a wedding at all, I'd choose no wedding at all. This day is about the two of you, not your terrible sister and all those who support her. Congratulations on your wedding, and another option to consider is eloping. My 25 female wedding is in a month. I sent out the prospective seating chart to my bridal party, including my bridesmaids and my immediate family. The bride and groom's parties are seated at the front at long tables for the ceremony and reception. It makes things easier since there are a lot of moving parts. The rest of the guests are seated at small circular tables. My brother Noah, 28, was upset that his ex-wife Flora, 31, wasn't seated with him like the other spouses. They divorced 2 years ago after Noah said that Flora was an emotionless mannequin with no time or energy for him. Our family was stunned because Flora always seemed loving, though her calmness is sometimes a little too stoic. I think his friends are to blame. My mom loved Flora. About a year ago, Flora had a car accident where she passed out behind the wheel and drove into a tree in her backyard. It turns out she had a disease that affected her heart and her body. It was a miracle that she could even function as long as she did. She looked fine, if a bit underweight, but she was close to death. Noah and our mom threw themselves into helping Flora. He drives her everywhere, makes all her specialized meals, does the chores, and makes the doctor's appointments. He really stepped up. They recently got remarried, so Flora can be on his health insurance rather than hers. However, it's just a marriage on paper. My mom's still upset about that. I ensured that the venue was aware of Flora's needs, so she was seated close to an exit for fresh air, had the right dietary food, and had a person there to help her if needed. Nurse. Flora hasn't asked for anything. Noah, however, says that he must be seated next to her to care for her needs. I've already taken care of Flora's needs, and I don't want any gossip about why they're sitting together when they're divorced on my wedding day, so I told him no. He threw a fit and said neither of them would come to the wedding. My mother's begging me to reconsider, but she wants them to get back together. Am I the idiot? Edit. Most people, including our friends and extended family, don't know about Flora's health issues, or that Noah's been taking care of her, or that they're legally remarried. Our family and friends are a gossipy bunch, and it would be definitely the talk of the party rather than my wedding. My mom knows the ins and outs of Flora's illness, and I talked with her about what Flora needed. She's invited as my mother's and my guest officially. I sent her a list of what I'd prepared and asked her if she needed anything. She just said thanks, and she's excited about the wedding. But to be honest, Flora's not the one to ask for accommodations anyway, which is why I had my mom make sure we covered everything. You are the idiot. They're married. Paper marriages are still valid. Also, it only seems like this to you and your mom that think that this is a paper marriage. Noah is her primary caretaker. You do not do that unless you care for that person. Stop treating them as a divorced couple. They're remarried. Just tell people before the wedding that your brother remarried his wife because they reconciled. No drama on the wedding day. It's bizarre. In one breath, OP says it's just a marriage on paper, yet recognizes how her brother has stepped up to care for her. Like, I've known people who divorce their partner because they can't handle caring for them. Marriage is about devoting your life to loving and caring for someone else. She's not your brother's ex-wife. She's his wife. Who cares about gossip? Really? Is it that tough to let her sit with him? You're going to be so busy, you won't have the time to notice them. Look at it this way. If they stick together, they're already remarried. You can take credit for bringing them together at your wedding. What a love story. Sounds like OP loves to gossip. I'll give you a summary. I told my brother that I don't want my disabled sister-in-law to sit beside him at the head table of my wedding. Now he refuses to attend. I explained that his marriage was a sham, and I hired a nurse for his wife. He still won't attend. Plus, it saves OP from having a disabled person ruining the main family aesthetic, so it's better to put her in a corner away from the other guest. OP, you are the idiot. They're married, separated or not. He's a caregiver to her, primary or not. His being at the table isn't going to give away her health condition any more than a nurse at the table will. I, 28 male, wasn't thinking, and I moved out from my mom's and in with this girl and immediately got her, 26, pregnant after just 6 months of dating her. She's 13 weeks. I never asked her to end it, and she never suggested it. We've always gone 50-50 on everything, and she's holding up her end. But I'm so broke right now. I'm barely bringing home $1,000 a month and struggling to even pay my half. She's been on her own a lot longer than I have, and she makes $50K a year. I'm trying to find something full-time, but I don't have much experience. It's all bringing me into depression. She's always angry at me, but I know it's not her fault. My mom keeps suggesting I move back in with her, just me, save up, and then get a place for us all when the baby's a few months old. I would love that. The problem is this girl doesn't have any family in the state, so she's threatening that if I ditch her while she's pregnant, that she'll be forced to move out of state, and we'll never have a chance of getting back together, and I'll lose my access to my child forever, and then she'll put me on child support. I always envisioned my child having a 2-parent household, which kills me. Am I the idiot for wanting to get us into a better position? Plus, she was on her own before. You're 28 years old, don't have much job experience, have no full-time job, and got your girlfriend pregnant. The time for good life choices has passed. Now she holds all the cards in your life. You should ask her what you can or should do. Driving a wedge between you and your soon child would be yet another in a long list of bad decisions. You are the idiot. I'm hoping OP goes home to his mommy and his soon-to-be ex returns to her family. Nothing spells mature adults like retreating from adult responsibility under a mom's roof when you have a child on the way. This girl makes $50K a year at 26 years old. She can do this just fine by herself and provide that kid with a good life. She needs to return to her family where she can get support and forget about this loser. Yeah, if I were her, I'd probably go it alone, with the assumption that I'd be raising 2 kids otherwise. You want to ditch your pregnant girlfriend to save money. You're asking her to endure all the discomforts of late pregnancy alone, recover from labor alone, handle all the sleepless nights and the newborn phases alone, etc. It's really hard. Yeah, she was alone before, but she wasn't pregnant with your child. That changes everything. You're 28, not 18. Step up and be a present father to the child you've created. Time to get multiple part-time jobs until you can find a full-time one. But you don't understand. His mommy told him to move back home. OP, you calling the future mom of your kid, this girl, already puts you in the idiot category. Everything else is just a bonus. It was my, male 29, birthday yesterday, and a close friend of mine made me a small cake. My wife, 24, has been prescribed a weight loss plan by the dietitian she goes to. She has to weigh herself every week and lose her target 3 pounds. It was her idea to see a dietitian. She was recommended to see one after her doctor informed her that her prediabetes and hypertension were worsening. This week, for the 3rd time in a row, she gained weight after snacking on a bunch of junk food and therefore failed her weigh-in. She asked for some of my birthday cake, and I told her to eat the dinner I made first so she could have some nutritious food before eating that sugary cake. She got upset at me for telling her to eat dinner first and is still mad, but she specifically invited me to sessions with her dietitian so we can make healthy lifestyle changes as a couple. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. She wasn't asking for permission to have cake. She was asking for permission to have a slice of your cake. She had already made the decision whether she was going to eat cake. Yes, you will lose no matter how you approach this. Her food choices are not your decision. Agree. The big problem is you're treating her like a child, and you're behaving like a brat. Food will always be around her. It's something she needs to learn to regulate herself. Your playing food cop won't help, and as you're seeing, is more likely going to be negative. She's an adult, and medical decisions are between her and her doctor. Her body, her choice. Also, 3 pounds a week sounded nutty. A doctor has specifically prescribed her to lose weight because she's pre-diabetic and has hypertension. Unfortunately, she's gained weight 3 weeks in a row instead of maintaining or losing. You said, let's have dinner first, before eating a bunch of sugar that can spike her insulin levels, which is very bad for a pre-diabetic person. It's your cake. You could have been a greedy pig and said, nope, I'm having it all to myself, and no one can tell you otherwise. You are not the idiot. When you love someone, you can't just sit back and let them harm themselves, or at least not enable it. Food addiction is serious. Excessive eating causes diabetes, which can lead to heart disease, vision loss, hearing loss, loss of limbs, high-risk pregnancies, and so much more. You married her to live a long, happy, but also healthy life with her. Encourage her to go to therapy about her unhealthy relationship with food.